Good evening, all. Once again, it is I, Xavier Brandon, one of your creepy gents and the narrator guy. I'm back tonight with another lovely story, which I think you will quite like. This story is about a monster, and it's known as the Sepulcher. The form you're about to read is a police record, recorded 2 years ago. This case is still being investigated to this day. A phone call to the local police department in the Ukraine or the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine near Chernobyl Ground Zero at 3 a.m. from an anonymous caller was reported on January 1st, 2011, New Year's Day. The conversation was this. Help me! Hello? Please help me. Oh, God, help me. Sir, is everything all right? What is your emergency? The, the air. The air is so thin. Please help me. Sir, where is your location? I don't know. Please help me. The call ends. The call was traced back to an abandoned cabin in the woods near Chernobyl, which many know that the nuclear reaction accident happened on April 26, 1986. There have even been reports of animals with mutated limbs wandering around Chernobyl to this very day. When police arrived on the scene, the call came from underground. Literally, underground. Police found an unmarked grave and dug it up. They found a coffin with someone yelling inside of it. Police opened it and found a young man covered in blood with a large gash on his arms and face. They investigated the abandoned cabin and found a horrific sight. 3 bodies, 2 women and a man, were found mutilated inside the house. Upon further investigation, police found an underground tunnel from the basement of the house to a small room. The room was a sick, twisted smell of death, said Lieutenant Victor Rada. The man who was buried alive stated that he remembers a dark, shadowy figure that attacked him and his friends. He states that the creature chased us there to die. The man, high school student Pavlo Kosak, said in a statement when questioned about him and his friend's death, replied, "The creature was hungry. It had to feed." Police found altars and chains along the room at the end of a tunnel. A part of the room that stood out to all of them was in the middle of the room, where they found several broken chains with blood-soaked stains on the floor. Severed animal and infant limbs were found scattered across the floor. Later, the police questioned Pavlo Kosak about him and his friends. He replied in saying, "We were just in the woods making a bonfire celebrating New Year's. We were drinking and eating when we heard some stuff in the woods. Voices, footsteps. We were pretty scared, so we just packed up our stuff and we were going to go until we saw a man in a hood. I couldn't see his face, but it went bad. He had a weapon and started to chase us in the woods until we saw the cabin, and we just took refuge there until he was gone." Mr. Kosak also stated that he has no memory of ending up inside of the coffin, but he remembers that someone was talking about "he must be fed." We concluded that the man in the hood was one of the cult members and was about to sacrifice him to their god. Police uncovered documentations on a creature named the Sepulcher that was uncovered inside of the room under the cabin. Apparently, an organization of people, a religious cult, were performing rituals and sacrifices in this area. They stated in one of the documents that our Almighty God sent us an angel above to save us. We must sustain the holy beast with blood of the pure, for our blood is tainted and must be pure again. The records of this cult show us drawings and possible actions of past sacrifices these people did. Children and pets were reported missing, and certain farm animals like goats and cattle were also reported missing. This Sepulcher, as it is named, has stirred up a lot of possibilities for this case. Many believe that the Sepulcher is a mutated human that wandered near Chernobyl and was infected and has been surviving off of wandering animals. Others believe that it is a spirit that represented the death in Chernobyl of families and children who were exposed to serious radiation and died. Some think the Sepulcher is actually a skinwalker, a being that can turn itself into any animal or human, even into any object it chooses. Others, of course, believe that this thing is a god among men, who, perhaps, is God himself. These cult members would perform weird rituals to appease this beast. They would hang victims, skin them alive, and feed the skin to the beast. Bury people alive, as they believed that the soul of the person would be consumed by the creature, and finally they would feed infants and animals to the creature. When the police found the broken chains in the cellar, one of the documents stated that these chains had a hold of the angel, so we can never lose him. Our souls are impure, so we need to purify them, so we can be accepted into heaven's gates. All of these theories, the police and press do not believe. Mr. Cossack was asked to give a description of the so-called Sepulcher, and the drawing was of a morbid skull face with deep black sockets and a huge hunched back with a huge claw that it carries on its right arm. It also includes two very small, skinny, bony legs. Paulvo stated that the creature was almost 9 feet tall. Paulvo Cossack was released from police custody the day after and returned to his home. Exactly 1 day after he was released, he was reported missing. Police searched for days until he was found buried in his backyard. Family members and even animals started to smell the flesh of decay from the ground. When he was uncovered, there was no coffin or no sign of struggle. Nothing. Locals believe it to be the cult members who came back to finish the job for their god. Others believe it to be the actual creature itself, the Sepulcher, who needed to feast on the man's soul. Police are still looking into the investigation of Paulvo Cossack and the location of the cult members who committed these crimes. But some say, when you pass Chernobyl, late at night, you can see the Sepulcher wandering and feeding. No one knows that the Sepulcher actually exists, and a lot say that it does. For those of you who are wondering the spelling of the Sepulcher, it is Sepulcher. You may look it up if you would like to see more dramatic recreations of it. The facts and proof do not support the claim of a supernatural phenomenon or a mutated creature, but many claim to have seen it. Still, little by little, more animals and children, even babies, have been reported missing. And most turn to the gluttony of the Sepulcher.